This is a Aiwa LX-100 turntable. It's direct drive. It's a front loading turntable. And what that means is it loads a record like a CD-ROM loads a CD tray. So you would press a button, the tray would come out, you would put a record on it, and it pulls the tray back in and starts to play. It's also a linear tracking turntable. As I said, it's a direct drive. The tray mechanism is belt driven. There's also a belt that moves the tone arm from left to right. So I'm gonna describe this to you and show you some pictures of it. First, you can see here the front of it. It's a very narrow turntable. It's not very wide. As you can see, there's a record in it. And if the record's 12 inches, the actual turntable can't be any more than 13 inches wide. Has speed control on the front. And of course, it has, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a strobe in there in the front of it. Shows you the speed. You also have buttons for tone arm, up and down, left and right. Going to the next picture. You can see it unloading a record right here. I have a record on it. You can see the drawer drops down, or the front end drops down, and the tray comes out. The top of it actually comes off. It's not locked on in anyway. It's just held on. Well, it's actually not held on. You just put it on top. And if I remove it and go to the next picture, you can see what it looks like when the tray is extended. Now, the way this works is you put the record on top of a plastic tray, and the plastic tray goes in and out and drops onto the tray shown in this picture, which is your typical, aluminum platter with the strobe indicators. And this shows you a better view of the tone arm and the needle on it. I don't know if you can see in the back on the right. I believe that's an indicator that tells it what size the record is. Okay, now going to the inside of the machine. Next, as you can see, this is the back of it. And on the bottom right side of the picture, you can see a motor. And this motor drives the tone arm. It moves it left and right to follow along the record. And as you can see, I'm going to zoom in right here. As you can see, I did a repair on it because when I got the turntable, all of the belts on it were turned into mush. And I needed to know if it worked. I didn't want to buy a belt just to, fix a broken table. So I used rubber bands. And as you can see, there's a rubber band on here. And I also use rubber bands to repair the tray mechanism. Now I'm going to go and do a close-up on the tray mechanism. And when this is put together, this tray mechanism, I believe it's on the right side of the turntable when it's all put together. But as you can see, there's a motor. And there's a belt around the motor that's around a pulley. And on the same pulley is another belt, which goes around another pulley. Now, the belt that's on the motor is actually a real belt. The other belt, it looks like a belt. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. It looks like a belt, but it's actually these rubber bands that are made for hair braiding. And what happened was I repaired this turntable. It worked fine. The tray came out. It played fine. But because these aren't actually real belts, they ended up breaking after a few months. And so now the turntable isn't working. But I'm going to order some new belts and fix everything. And backing up from that, here's another picture showing the entire tray assembly. Shows you what it looks like. And basically, all of this, the tray assembly is on the, goes on the top of the base. And going back to the base, this would be the base, that picture I showed you with the motor. and it would go on top of the base, and everything would get screwed together, and then back to the original picture. Now this turntable works fine. The sound is good, and I thought the best thing about this turntable was its size, because I collect a lot of records, vinyl records, and I use these IKEA Expedit shelves, and the record fits into the shelf perfectly. Not only that, you can put things on top of it if you wanted to. I don't. But if you wanted to put something on top of it, you can. And it's almost like a CD-ROM where it just ejects and you can put records in there and play them, and everything works fine. So I'm going to go back to the picture of the tone arm. And at first I thought this was a MMC4 cartridge and needle set. But as you can see, it looks more like the cartridge is built into the tone arm. Has a LED on top of the arm. I believe that's some kind of sensor. I don't have the manual for it. I might get it, but I'll look for it first. Try to get it for free. But that's it. Also, in the back of the turntable, there's a wire that says remote. And this turntable came in a system which had it was a tape deck and a receiver and built-in tuner. It was a digital tuner with the analog dial. So you would turn a dial, and that was analog, but it would display it as a digital readout. And that didn't work. It had too many problems. I believe this set was made back in about 1982. And if you looked inside the receiver, it was a mess, because they used pretty much all discrete components. And the thing was well built, well made, but there was just way too much stuff in there to dig into it and fix it. And it had too many problems, like the display would blink on and off, and sometimes it wouldn't work. So I ended up getting rid of that. But I still have the turntable. I believe I still have the little tray. And basically the tray, it's like a little, you could put the turntable on top of it. And it was made so you could put the turntable and the receiver inside of it. It's metal and glass and wood construction, and I'll include that with the turntable when I sell it. But this is just a video to show you what this turntable looks like, and I'll be putting up some more of my equipment up later. But this is my first technical video. Anyone who's ever watched the one video I had on YouTube know that it was a response to someone, I believe, about debit cards. But this is my first of many videos about my equipment. And thanks for looking.